Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is May the 4th, be with you, Friday. We're having our standard Friday experience, nobody on the chat or anything like that, no surprise there. And we only have 2 daily quests because we got all 3 of them done, so let's trade out 1500 class cards, easy enough to do. Let's trade out the victories, win 3 games with the Shaman or Warlock. That's gonna be a little bit more of an issue. So what do we want to start with first? I suppose we play mid-range hunter ranked and play those cards. And then victories, Shaman or Warlock, we'll try for that. I have a ton of news, so let's just hop into it. PC Gamer has an article. Activision says Fortnite is a lot of competition right now. No duh. CEO Bobby Kotick says Battle Royale games genre are an important new mode of play.
You asked for it.
No duh. So expect, I imagine, Activision Blizzard to come out with some kind of Battle Royale game pretty quickly. Although, if anybody was to take their time, it would be Activision Blizzard. So they may come out with a Battle Royale game, but it might be 2 or 3 years from now when the whole fad might have already come and gone. Next game we have is called Orcs Evolve VR. Let's see. It's suffering from some dark screenshots. Again, always this. What kind of game is this? Early access action simulation. Defend the portal and slice a gazillion of orcs in VR. So, instead of zombies in tower defense mode, it's orcs in a tower defense mode where you are the tower. It's an early access game for $2.99. At least the price is probably right when you include the premium for playing a VR game.
I hunt alone.
People trying to put some polish on it, but nobody's played this game. Let's see. It's weird, there's a recent update here that says 2,000 wishlist editions. Like, they're celebrating that people have wishlisted their game. This has an all-time peak of 1 and it came out yesterday. I don't think Orcs spelled O-R-C-Z, Evolve VR, is going to go anywhere. Let's see.
To my side.
So we play this. And this.
I hunt alone.
Tech Raptor's article has an update to that article. Chris Evelyn talks about his departure from Obsidian Entertainment. The part was seemed like it was a pretty nasty departure, and let's see. Let's see, update May 3rd. While there's been no official statement from Obsidian Entertainment, Avalon has left quite a few comments in the third sense. First of all, he's confirmed he confirmed not having signed an NDA. He details managerial issues and states that the pay scale at Obsidian is definitely on the lower end of the industry. Let's see. Well, I want to do this. And this.
I hunt alone.
Go ahead and attack that way. Play. In another comment, the Obsidian's success rarely translates into financial gain and job security for any employees, which is unfortunately a common complaint in the game industry. He also explained that one of the reasons he took the RPG Codex forum to talk about his departure was that he was blocked from Obsidian.net forum account after his departure. He also said he's been employed as a writer for Ghost Story Games, which was known as Irrational ever since his departure. So he's making, I guess, the next Ghost Story games, which wouldn't be the next BioShock game that we heard rumors of actually existing out of the blue. I really wasn't expecting there to be another BioShock game. If there was going to be another Shock game, it should have been, I think, time to move over to something else. The first one was called System Shock and then BioShock, so why not think of something else completely to be similar but a different theme. Let's see where we're losing here. He says Ghost Story Games is great and their lore is amazing. He also said that the Obsidian's upper management should get their poop together because the future is uncertain if you can't develop and rely on your own tech. He also stated that Obsidian has been practicing cost padding, which I assume means making things cost more on the books than they actually did, which probably is illegal. But like most of this does kind of come off as just sour grapes and upsetness. In another comment, he says he's set aside a legal fund to deal with any repercussions, and I will fight anything they bring to the table tooth and nail, and I welcome it. While later saying Paradox has already been in touch and they aren't too happy with how Obsidian handled the work they asked for. Future revelations will likely be much more fun than mine. So, yeah. I don't know if this is an article that maybe just doesn't have enough editorialization by TechRaptor, since I'm still trying to figure out if I like TechRaptor or not. Because this really is some blanket quoting, and with no spin or direction, or, I mean, which is usually a good thing, but it can, on a rare occasion, be a bad thing. If you're telling a complicated story and the story literally doesn't make sense when it's put on paper to a random person, that's kind of the problem. Like, all I'm left with is this general feeling that he's really upset with this company, and he wants me to hate that company. What was it, Obsidian? Yeah. Which, okay, I'll ride that ride. Certainly I'll hate any video game company that exists, pretty much, because they all suck, and we kind of already knew that. But I guess it is helpful to say it and point out examples. Next article we have from TechRaptor is Beyond Good and Evil 2 devs show off ships and staff combat. So there's a video here. The thing with Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think, well, first of all, I know that there's a ton of games journalists that are in love with the Beyond Good and Evil 1, and I like the game fine, but it doesn't look like you're really getting any of the characters from the first game. And if you are getting characters from the first game, they look so completely different now. It's like, I can't tell. And so now I'm seeing staff combat by the new female protagonist of the game, and I'm seeing a monkey with a jetpack fly around in a few places. And frankly, I think that might be as much as this is. This seems a lot like it is just Enslaved and Odyssey to the West. Because that's kind of all that game was too, is you were in this futuristic world with a staff that you were fighting and doing all kinds of moves to. And then there was not a jetpack in Enslaved, but there was a hover surfboard thing.
Begin.
And I imagine the jetpack elements are going to be extremely limited and, for the most part, not play a big role in the game. Seems like she's fighting. If I go back here and look, like they're really just showing the same footage over and over again. She seems to be fighting kind of Japanese soldiers with swords while she's using a staff, and I don't know how that intertwines into Beyond Good and Evil either. I don't know how any of this feels like Beyond Good and Evil. I really don't see how anybody is gonna be happy with this product when you just think about it and you know the elements. And maybe I need to go back and play Beyond Good and Evil again. I probably will before the game comes out if I get around to it. But I just don't think the sequel, if it ever even comes out, which is a big question, is gonna feel anything like the old game. There was staff combat in the first game. That is true. There was also photography in the first game. There's been no talk of photography in the first game. The Jade, I believe, was the character in the first game, was a photographer journalist, and there was a conspiracy going on. There's been really no indication about any of that stuff. Next game we have on Steam is called Ruler by Default. It says it's an indie casual simulation dating sim with anime as a tag. Let's see. Now the thing about this is going to be the art style. Looks like it might be what they call an isekai story where the main character ends up inside of a VR fantasy world. The art styles, all alright. They rise to what you would expect from a standard Japanese visual novel as far as the animation. For what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing a lot of screenshots. There are some times when it shifts style also. It also, however, seems like this might be a direct ripoff of an anime that came out a few seasons ago, because the two main elf girls look a lot like Rim and Ray, which is this two characters, one with blue hair and one with pink hair. I haven't actually watched that anime, so I can't tell you. And then there's like a third blonde-haired character that's not in any of the other screenshots. And then your fourth red-haired character with glasses. And then a brown-haired character with tomboyish features. And then another character. So there's a pretty decent selection here. And notably, there doesn't seem like there's any super young looking characters, which you typically would have somebody that looks way younger than they should or would. The thing that I want to find out is this developer and publisher. Yeah, this developer hasn't released anything else, and this is selling. Ruler by Default is selling for $8.79 with 12% off. All-time peak of 7, and it's only in English. I gotta applaud this because this is an English game trying to be a Japanese visual novel dating sim, and they didn't, at least in the presentation they're showing me right now, they didn't immediately cheap out and try to lower the quality of the graphics or anything. Let's see. This will do this, and that, and then turn. But does that mean I would recommend this game? No, because it's not going to get any sales and because it's not going to get any support. Like, it says it's going to have Steam trading cards, but there's no achievements. It's way too expensive. Yep, and I guess because it is a Western English developer, that explains why there isn't a character that's super young looking. I don't know. I just don't believe that there should be people out there that have so much time in their life to play bad visual novels when there are enough good ones that are built and based off of
Minion with taunt is in the way.
Either mangas or anime, something that would make a little bit more sense to want to be a fan and follow it and spend that extra premium money to play a visual novel because you'd already known the characters, you already had a relationship with those characters through some other medium. Or you go to like Clannad or where I don't believe Clannad. No, Clannad I think is based on a light novel. Like, I bet the story is not that good on Ruler for a Day compared to some of the best ever. And I guess until you've played the best ever, you shouldn't lower your standards, I guess, would be the right phrase. Next game we have is called Block Party Sports. It says it's an indie casual sports fantasy. It looks like it is an asset flip of some low polygon assets trying to make sports games. I mean, clearly there was an effort here to try to make some games without actually having an actual artist that could make anything, and it's kind of random. It's a collection of different mini games instead of just one to really work on. It's the exact opposite of what you should do when developing a game. So I definitely couldn't recommend it. It's 20% off for $4.79. Let's see. It says it has 6 positive reviews. I don't trust any of them. And this All Stars app developer has not made anything else on Steam. And well, frankly, let's hit this. Yeah. Talk about just the wrong way to develop a game, making 20 mini games, or a handful of mini games, probably not 20. PC Gamer has an article that I kind of agree with. If you use Twitter, you should change your password right now. A computer glitch, they're calling it, in Twitter exposed passwords internally, though there's no evidence of misuse. I have no idea how you can call a misconfiguration and a failure to immediately salt and hash a password into a database a computer glitch. This was just sloppy programming at the beginning of it. That's all there is to it. There's no way, if you complete the chain of creating passwords in the 5 steps that it really needs to take. There's no way that a salted and hashed password would ever be able to be unencrypted on any backend service so that it was held in plain text. What this means is something, either before the password was salted or hashed, was copying the password, or the password was never salted and hashed. If it was hashed and not salted, that still wouldn't have it in plain text, unless someone is intentionally unhashing something. And it can't be salted without being hashed. And I know for most people that you don't know what salted nor hashed means, but they are terms that you should definitely demand from your passwords. Hashed means it takes your password, it runs an algorithm to it, and gives you a seemingly longer string of characters, letters, and numbers that look random to a layman's eye. But you could actually take that hash, run it backwards through the same algorithm, and get your password. So the reason you salt something then is because you take a specific random input, add it to your password, run those both together through an algorithm, so that only if the password you're typing in going through that algorithm equals what these two random bits, the salt and the hash, should be. Only at that point does it know that your password is your password. I probably didn't explain that too well, but it's a way to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. I really don't feel like going on a long rant. Two-factor authentication should also be enabled if you can enable it on Twitter. I believe you can. I don't want to go into a long rant. I'm not the type of person that's like hashtag delete Facebook. I don't think there should be a hashtag delete Twitter. There's clearly a mistake was made, however.
Your magic shall not save you. Your magic shall not save you.
But always be careful. Always give different passwords to different people. Part of Twitter's response is, if you're using this password anywhere else on any other service, go change it. You shouldn't have ever been doing that in the first place. Truth is, a lot of password security everywhere, even in the most secure places where it should be a lot more secure, is garbage. And it's not through hacking that most breaches of security happen. It's through employees, it's through stupidity, it's through people guessing passwords. And while a lot of this falls on the end user to do the right thing, it also, there's a big requirement that's not often fulfilled for companies to do the right thing to protect your data. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, TikTok steampunk puzzle game The Watchmaker, coming this month. This is interesting because I believe this is the first game I've seen on TechRaptor that's been mentioned that I haven't seen anywhere else. The Watchmaker is coming out May 17th, 2018 on PC. It's got a trailer down here, let's see it. I was a little concerned with the kind of lack of video and pictures in TechRaptor's articles, but honestly that might just be a case of them not filling their articles with garbage. Yes, I have definitely not seen this trailer or heard of this game, and it looks like an interesting game. It looks like a weird clockwork world where you're platforming and puzzling with decent graphics, but not great realistic graphics. Apparently there's also ghosts in it that you're gonna have to deal with that, and there's giant robots that you can charge up and electrify, I think. 5 damage to minion and 2. Looks like the game's gonna have some story to it, and it's gonna be a linear experience. And there's a demo on Steam. So, yes, most definitely the Watchmaker is going on my wish list. Of course, the problem here is following what's on Steam, I only see games as they come out. So I would hope I would have caught this and seen this game then on the 17th when it came out, but there is a possibility I just missed things, even though I'm trying my very best not to miss things. And if that is the case, then like, who knows how many AA games, which I'd call that a AA game, may have slipped through my fingers.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Who knows? Next game we have on Steam is called 5 Rings. I don't think it's anything except a ring puzzle game. And if it's called 5 Rings, I suspect there are only 5 rings in the entire game. It is selling for 5% off, which I didn't even know you could do 5% off. I've never seen anything fewer than 10% off for $1.89, and nobody's bought it, and obviously wouldn't. Let's see, this developer has not made anything else on Steam. There were ring puzzles like this in Assassin's Creed 2, and there was nothing really wrong with them, but there was nothing great about it. If you were gonna make a game like this, you'd probably want a whole algorithm to make lots of different puzzles, some kind of integration so that there's a way to make this more complicated and a longer experience, and a way to input your own images, and just like do some actual work. This is a one-screen game, but it looks like it would have just been a first-year programmer's project, not even like a final project. It's just over the weekend make a ring game type project. And I really expect you could probably make this game in a weekend, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of these games jams. Is people spend a weekend making a game, and then some of those people think they can actually sell that game and that it's a finished project, and I'm like, no way. Every time I see somebody do that. Anyways, next article, Gamasutra, it says Activision Blizzard sees new Q1 records, though share prices still falter. Let's see. It hit its generally accepted accounting procedure, net revenue. When it does GAAP, which all of them do nowadays, that means they're basically lying to you and cheating to make it look like they're profitable when they aren't. While the company has raised its full-year earning forecast by what it describes as a modest amount, Activision Blizzard shares notably fell after earnings report was unintentionally released with inaccurately low results. earlier in the Dow Jones. Okay, well that's incompetence at the highest level. And how do you even do that? The stock markets right now are all doing pretty poorly due to trade wars in the United States versus practically everybody. But to further make it worse for yourself, that's not good. By sending out the wrong information. Next game we have on Steam is called Semi-Sweet Tofu. It's a falling platform game. It doesn't look like it's animated very well. Came out May 3rd. This one's Oh, I'm in a problem now. I'm in a win streak. I'd like to keep the win streak going, but I've got to play Shaman a Warlock. So I'm hoping either I play Zoo Warlock or Battlecry Shaman, and I continue to win. Guess I can't really stick. This game has a all-time peak of 4 people. It's free, so the price is right. I suppose it has 1 positive review. Even the positive review says the game has some rough spots, but they think it's a decent indie platformer. I would argue it's not. I think this is to the level of an itch.io game, and that's it. Like, you've got no level of quality here in the graphics, no level of quality that I can see in the controls. The speed for the game looks pretty slow. Yeah, there's just nothing here. When you compare it to something like Super Meat Boy, and you know we've hit that level of an expert amount of quality and control in platforming, you've got to do pretty great. You have to make an excellent platformer if you're going to try and interest something, or it has to at least be visually appealing. It kind of has to be both. Like, Super Meat Boy arguably isn't even that visually appealing, and its quality brings it up. Tech Raptor has an article: God of War becomes the fastest selling PS4 exclusive of all time, which is, I suppose, just a different way to spin that God of War is sold a lot. I don't really need to read that article any further. Let's see what I want to do this. Eurogamer has an article: Assassin's Creed comics just delivered a moment fans have been waiting for nearly a decade. What moment is that? The Assassin's Creed comic series has just reached a moment in the franchise's overall story which fans have long awaited. A point in the series' plot arc has been building for nearly a decade. If you're not up to date with the Assassin's Creed games, up to Syndicate, beware spoilers below. So I haven't played Syndicate, but I don't care enough about the story to not spoil myself on it. Back in 2016, Ubisoft and Titan Comics revealed the first Civilizations plot line, which was featured in multiple Assassin's Creed games, would instead culminate in a new series of graphic novels. So that's where all of the truth first Civilization story, I guess, went, which is interesting to know because I didn't know that. I thought they had just kind of given up on the first Civilization stuff. Over the past 18 months, the Assassin's Creed Uprising series has done just that and charted the impending return of Juno, the franchise's overall big bad. You see, I wasn't even really 100% certain that that was the case. Like, maybe, sorta. Do I want to do this? Or just do this?
I told ya so.
There we go. Now in the latest and penultimate issue, I'm not sure if that's the right word to use, penultimate, Uprising 11 has finally shown that Juno is back and in physical form in a newly grown body. Here's a look at her as posted by the official Assassin's Creed Reddit. And then they've got apparently, I guess somebody, I suppose it was, he has the symbol from Abstergo. Somebody at Abstergo cloned a body for Juno. The storyline of the mysterious fourth civilization is one which has been building since the first Assassin's Creed game. Yeah, building and nobody even cared about, really, is the other part of that statement. Let's see. But really took shape in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood when Juno herself made her debut. And was that the point where Juno made the main character stab another main character? But I thought that was supposed to be a good thing that she stabbed the other character because she was a spy. I thought that was the point. That she was doing the right thing. Let's see. It was Juno who made Desmond stab Lucy in Assassin's Creed 2 and influenced Desmond to sacrifice himself throughout Assassin's Creed Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3. Okay. I recently played Revelations. I don't recall Juno playing any part in the game. Juno's desire to return to life really kicked into gear in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I haven't played, so I guess maybe that's when it really started to build up and be a bigger issue. Which featured a plan devised by Juno's husband in both the modern day and historical sections. The events of Assassin's Creed Syndicate then involved the search for the Shroud of Eden, a MacGuffin which could restore her body. The comic continued by introducing a new cast of characters involved in the process of restoring the body on the evil Templar side of things and those fighting to stop her, the assassins. Uprising 12 is set to be the final chapter of the story and due next month. After nearly a decade, fans will finally see if Juno's plan succeeded or if Assassin's Creed can finally stop her in her evil tracks. And it's really weird for me, from the point I know the story, to say she's evil. What do I want to do?
Hey, give me that.
This. And let's just keep on playing characters.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
And I think for the most part, people don't really care about Juno or any of the Assassin's Creed stuff, and that's why this stuff is happening in comic book form, is so that they can just finish that story and move on with Assassin's Creed Origins, having nothing to do with any of that. We've got somebody on the chat, Suzuki, saying, is this a free-to-play deck? And hi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Probably it's Saso Uki, if I was to try and pronounce it better. Yes, all my accounts are free to play for the most part. Maybe I bought 1 or 2 packs over 4 years. We're playing on the European account right now, just getting those daily quests done so we can get more packs. The funny thing certainly will be, if I ever was to decide to stop being free to play and buy packs, it'd probably be so far at the end of Hearthstone as a game that nobody else would be playing. So at that point, it'd probably be it's probably too late now even to buy card packs unless you're willing to put somewhere close to $800 or $1,200 in packs in them. In it, yeah. Sasauki, it says is okay. Oh wow, you are at rank 23 XD. Yeah.
For Doomhammer.
I don't. The story of rank has kind of an excuse to it and kind of not. I, for the most part, don't play a lot of Hearthstone. Don't enjoy it. I stream it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I stream it between 3 different accounts. One for the Americas, one for the Europes, and one for the Asian countries. And because of that splits my efforts between 3 different accounts. And mostly I just want to get daily quests and get cards and continue playing. So even though I've been playing this game for 4 years, I've only spent 1 or 2 months in which I've tried to get up on rank. I also don't play meta decks. I don't play decks that other people play that they say this is what to play. I was playing decks that I was building for fun, and so there really wasn't an effort on that. There wasn't really an intention to succeed. I tried to get up higher last month, but they've changed the ranking system now, so it's more difficult for lower people to get up in rank. I do now, kind of starting just this month, I'm using a website called hsreplay.net, which integrates with my software over here to recommend the best decks that I can build with the cards that I have. And so starting this month, there is going to be an effort to try to get up higher and end on, say, rank 19, 18, maybe up to 15. I'm not expecting to make it to legendary or anything like that. But it also is just kind of hard. It's hard to put in the time and play Hearthstone when you're trying to play other games. It's hard to win, period. Best decks you can get a 60% win ratio, and it's just not fun for me to lose 40% of the time when I can go play a single player game and never lose. Most single player games I play, I die maybe once or twice in 30 hours. Here, I'm effectively dying every 7 minutes, maybe? It's just not a good gameplay experience for me. So yes, there is a slight desire to get up in rank, but there's also balancing that desire between not spending too much time on it. Also, I'm talking about video game news and stuff like that while I'm playing Hearthstone most of the time, so I'm not paying a significant amount of attention to the game anyways. Suzuki said, oh, I see. Are you an old player in the game? Yeah, but not old enough. I wasn't playing in the beta. I've been playing for about 4 years. So, I definitely feel like people who were in the beta and have been consistently and constantly purchasing packs are way more capable of succeeding than even a free-to-play player like me. There's definitely a lack of balance there. Moving on, the next game we have on Steam is called Blood Ancestors Open Alpha. It says it's a free-to-play action indie game. It looks kind of good. There's definitely some animation here, but what is it? It kind of looks like it's a For Honor clone if For Honor was an animated game and with some magic. Yeah. I don't know if you can really call anything a For Honor clone though. Probably be better to say it's a Team Fortress or Counter-Strike Go clone in a medieval setting. This game has everything: multiplayer, online co-op, everything except for single player. Let's see. Let's see the reviews on this game. 4 positive reviews and 2 negative reviews. I trust negative reviews more. 1 negative review says looks okay, runs very slow, very laggy. The next recommended review says pretty bad in current state, took 10 minutes of attempting to find a match and being met with "you're disconnected, would you like to rejoin," only to be kicked back to the main menu with the same message. First match I get was 4 versus 1, and I wasn't on the team of 4. Forced to play one of the characters. Couldn't change after I chose. Controlled like a rusted bike. Abilities are pretty easy to understand, but they don't work often, and if 4 enemies verse you. The final sentence on this review says play literally anything else today and you'll have a lot better experience. So I don't know, this open alpha for Blood Ancestors, I gotta disagree with somebody putting an open alpha on Steam. If you're gonna do an open alpha, you probably need to do it to a more limited community that's willing to play the game and stick through it. Friends and family, basically. There's also some weirdness there. This is the only game from this developer, Snow Peak Studio, and I just don't think they're doing anything good for their business name to have a game in open alpha. It came out today. I don't think people are going to jump into it and play though. And this game needs probably 2 to 3 more years of development before it was shown to anybody. And advertisement showing it off at E3, things like that. Next article we have from PC Gamer: a massive collection of vintage PCs and games is going up for auction this month. If you happen to be in New Jersey this month, you could get a TRS-80 and a box copy of Zork for it. Let's see. Back on the chat. Suzuki said, 4 years, wow. Why you don't like wild games? I do like wild games, but I'm mostly just staying with standard for now. My European and Asian accounts aren't as old as my 4-year-old America's account, so they don't have a lot of wild cards to play. So they would suffer even worse playing wild. I could play it on my America's account. I'm certainly considering it. I'm just kind of in this waiting period where I'm trying to figure out, do I want to play on my America's account wild games, or do I want to stick with standard? And I'm not certain which way I want to go there. I haven't put enough thought into it and enough decision. I have a lot more cards on my America's account, and most of them are wild, so that would make more sense. But for the European and Asian account, standard is the best because I barely have any cards at all. Let's hit this one. In the turn. Let's see. This article says Bill Logudis, who has written for PC Gamer about PC gaming history and his massive gaming collection in the past, is selling his hoard of vintage computers and games later this month. So, this is clear nepotism that a writer, someone who has written for PC Gamer in the past, is selling his old computers, and so they're putting out a literal ad. A small sampling of what he has. He has an Atari 400 and about 5 other Atari games, a BBC Master, Amstrad, Compact Desk Pro, which really isn't anything, the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, Packard Bell Platinum. Again, a lot of these are just old PCs and not inherently, you wouldn't immediately label them as a gaming console device. Let's see. And then he's selling a bunch of DOS games, which you're basically just buying the boxes for the DOS games if you were to buy them, because there's a high chance that none of them would read the floppy disks and such. I came into this as somebody who also happens to have like a large collection of video game memorabilia, all of which is Nintendo, in my case, Nintendo stuff. I was coming into this thinking, yeah, I was gonna say I have a bigger collection than this, regardless of what it was actually being sold. And the truth is, I kind of do have a bigger collection than what he's selling. Although, to be fair, since he's selling a bunch of computers, each one of those computers could have been $1,000, $2,000 each when he bought them, but that doesn't mean they're really worth that now. And like I said, selling floppy disks are basically just selling the boxes, because floppy disks don't work after a while. Let's see. Last night, the hashtag Brandcast event happened for YouTube advertisers, and they tweeted about it because I follow the branding part of YouTube to make sure I know what they're telling the brands versus what they're telling the content creators when YouTube decides to say anything to anybody, which is rare.
For the crusade! That was wild.
Let's see. The highlights from the Brandcast stage, new YouTube originals and advertising offerings. So YouTube is pushing more of the YouTube Red originals, I'm sure, not caring about the actual content creators and picking and choosing instead to support people like Logan Paul to make videos and movies with. See, and that's the problem, is more and more things are getting labeled as YouTube, and they're frankly not YouTube. They're not what made YouTube great, and not in any way what people come to YouTube to actually see. They say they're doubling down on can't get enough original content. So they're going to have the slow-mo guys and Kevin Hart come back, and it seems, let's see, Will Smith, the Jump Off is coming out. Something called Priyanka Chopra, If I Could Tell You Just One Thing, Jack Whitehall Training Days, Best Shot. There's also an untitled Demi Lovato project, the Super Slow Mo Show Season 2, Kevin Hart, What the Fit Season 2. They're also going to make even more top content accessible to advertisers, they say. Now, I guess you have to take all of this with a slight bit of salt, because it could be that at the Brandcast they're just telling the brand people lies, and this really isn't the intention of YouTube, but I would highly doubt that. I fully believe YouTube's going to push more and more towards their original content and do less and less to support the actual content creators in the community that exists.
Done.
Quite ready for this, but I'll play it anyways. They're offering undivided attention and unmatched results, according to one paragraph. I'm skipping around here and not reading the full paragraph on this blog, but the vast majority of it is more YouTube Red content is what they're pushing and what they want advertisers to put their ads on, and they want to demonetize and take all the ads off everybody else. Even the people that still get ads today, myself excluded from that group. Let's see. Sasuke said, "Can I switch the server in Hearthstone?" Unless you're in China, yes, you can. There's a special Chinese-only server, but only if you're playing on PC. It's a pull-down box from the Battle.net launcher if you're playing on PC. If you're playing on your phone, you can't because that's region-locked. If you're playing in China, you can't because you have to play on the China server only there. However, I would highly recommend you don't switch servers, because you've probably already unlocked some cards and gone through the incredibly long tutorial at the beginning of starting an account, and you would have to do all of that again from the beginning, and it's not worth it for a regular person to do that. It only makes sense if you're a YouTuber, if you're a streamer, and you have fans who potentially want to play you. So, like, yes, you can do it. If you want to go through the setup, that's fine, but it's really not worth it. You're gonna have to start from scratch on that server. Susuku asked later, did you spend money in Hearthstone to buy some packs or buy some heroes? Not really any. Maybe I bought one thing, maybe 2 or 3 packs at most. I have not been spending any real money on it, and I don't really like the game enough to support the game that way. I find the game a little too irritating, frankly, to deserve my money.
I told ya so.
And then Sasuke, I imagine her language is not English by default, or his language isn't by default. He says, me, I don't spend any money, and that is probably the right way to go about it.
Now, how about...
Honestly, even the people that seem to buy all the cards and have all the cards don't seem to have much better experience. Like, when you look at some of the YouTubers and Twitch streamers that are only playing Hearthstone, the only reason they're having any kind of good experience at all is because they're getting viewers and advertising revenue. Let's see. This one, this one, and this one. I'm going to do this, and hit
Join
this.
or die.
And we're gonna hit this. Let's go and steal this card. That worked. In the turn. Next game we have on Steam is called Soulsmith of the Kingdom. It's a casual simulation indie strategy RPG. Is this in English? Yes, it is. It's in English, Japanese, simplified, and traditional Chinese. And it looks like a very focused around graphics and screens, as far as numbers type RPG. Every single screenshot is just showing me a screen with numbers on it, and all the numbers are in Japanese, so it's really not giving me a good depiction of what the game is. I suppose this might be a ripoff of a game that recently came out where you play as a blacksmith and they're doing this RPG experience. That might be what this is, but I'm not even seeing the actual characters. Came out today. Honestly, it looks more like a clicker game than a strategy game.
Suffer as the wild
It's just popping like window on top of window on top of window. I'm sure there's this anime blacksmith girl on the sides, but 90% of the screen is this. Let's see, has this developer made anything else on Steam? No. It's 10% off for $6.29. Yeah, this does not look good. Let's scroll down and see if anybody's reviewed it positively. Let's see, 7 negative reviews to 20 positive reviews. One negative review is too long, didn't read, bad translation, English version not recommended. So I'm willing to believe that. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna be able to survive here. Next not recommended review says confusing as hell, broken English text everywhere, I can't even think of what it's trying to say. What do I do? The game is so bad at trying to explain anything. Use of poor translation and broken English. So the 2 English negative reviews say don't play it in English, which makes me knock out the game as something. But frankly, I don't even think a Japanese audience would really like this game, and if they did, this probably would play better on a mobile phone anyways. It's a clicker is all it is. It's not visually appealing, and if there's one thing you can say about Japanese products is they have to be visually appealing. That's why there's always cute anime girls everywhere, because of that demand for visual appeal. And they have not hit the mark there.
I have no cards left.
See, next game we have on Steam is called High Score Processing Unit. I imagine this is going to be garbage. Oh, maybe not. What kind of game is this? A action casual voxel retro game. Seems like you're flying down the tube, playing something that looks like a shooter type game. around a 3D environment. It's a one-screen game, certainly, but it looks good for the one screen. It has an all-time player of 1 with 30 achievements, 10% off for $1.79. No reviews. I don't know if I want to suggest this one or not. It's from somebody who's made a different game called IUBS:2, and that's rated 81% positive of 11 user reviews. So there's some credibility on this developer. I think I'm gonna wishlist this game. It's something to keep an eye out. It'd probably be a game that you're not gonna spend a ton of time with, but you might enjoy it for 5 minutes or so.
The best shape of my life.
The only way I could win here is to get my opponent to draw a lot of cards. I don't know how I can do that without myself drawing a lot of cards. Let's see.
Warriors of the frozen wastes, rise.
Suzuki says, you say if I switch the server is a bad idea if I play the game on phone. Why? You can't switch on phone as far as I understand, because it's locked to whatever server you're getting it from. So if you're in the Americas and you're playing on Apple iOS Store or Google Play Store, you're locked in automatically into only the American version of those stores, which only gives you the American version of the game. I don't know why that is the case for this specific game, but that's just how it is. So I don't think you can do it on your phone. Not easily, at least. Maybe there is some hackery way you can work around that. But it would be a bad idea to make a new account anywhere, because you have to start over from scratch. You won't have any of your rank, any of your cards. You're starting from the very beginning of when you first played Hearthstone. And it's really not worth it unless you just have a bunch of friends and you ended up on the wrong server in the first place, which would have been really difficult to have done. But if you definitely want to try, then don't let me stop you. Then Suzuki said, did you try to play Lisa the Painful? Lisa the Painful. I don't know who Lisa the Painful would be. Is that a card? Or is that a Steam? Let's see. Let me type in Lisa the Painful into Google and see if it can tell me what. Lisa the Painful is a post-apocalyptic role-playing video game developed. Okay, it's a video game. Gameplay.
What to do?
There's also a sequel called Lisa the Joyful. Received relatively well. I don't think I've played this game, so no, I don't think I have this game, and I don't think I've played it. So I'll see if it's on Steam. If it's on Steam, I will see. I think I've actually heard of this game though, and I've looked at it several times, and it just didn't look like it was a visually appealing game, and it seemed like it was a long RPG game with kind of a not fun storyline. It seemed like it was a little downbeat and grotesque. So I'll look at it again and see if I want to add it to my wish list, but I think I've seen somebody speed run the game on the Summer Games Done Quick, or no, I think it was the European Speedrunners Association YouTube. Somebody speed ran it. Suzuki said Lisa is the game in Steam. I'll double check it, but let's see if I want to put it on the wish list. Next story we have is PC Gamer says the NVIDIA has killed off its controversial GeForce affiliate program. In the end, it had just too much bad publicity. There was just a lot of bad publicity and rumors that it felt like NVIDIA was going to force some kind of price fixing scheme, or only treat people who only sold NVIDIA things well, and instead of treating all their customers well. Let's try Zoo Warlock while we're trying to get victories. We need 2 more. So yeah, they're killing off that program. I never really heard anything as far as the GeForce affiliate program that seemed like it was a good deal or was going to improve things. PC gamers started talking about board games, and because of that they're talking about a game called Thanos Rising, the Avengers. It's like Yahtzee but with the Avengers apparently. I don't cover board games, I talk about video games, so I'm not gonna mention anything more on that. Gamma Sutra has an article, Get a Job, join Zwift, that's ZWIFT, as a 3D game artist. That would have you working in Long Beach, California. So if you think you have what it takes to be a 3D game artist, seek out that article and seek out that job. Next game we have on Steam is called Neuro, N-E-U-R-O. It says it's an action indie casual. It looks like it's a platformer game using only neon colors and basic shapes. So you play as a square, you're dodging these bouncing circles, there's some spikes you're jumping over, there's a yellow square. So I could see how the platforming might get a little bit more detailed and tight playing with some very basic shapes. It boils down the concept of platforming to something very simple. This game came out today. It has an all-time high of 1 person playing. It's English only. 35% off for $1.29, which tells me the game is too expensive to start off with. And this is the only game from that developer, so yeah, I don't think there's anything I'm seeing in the screenshots that catches my attention, because all the screenshots are just neon blue. They're just neon blue lines in simple shapes. So how could that catch anybody's attention? Needs something. It definitely needs something. Yeah, on Steam, Lisa the Painful is just called Lisa. L-I-S-A. Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Because they have a DLC for Lisa called Lisa the Joyful. Yeah, I've heard people talk about it. It is overwhelmingly positive. 95% of everybody loves it. The last 30 days, it's rated 95% of 67 users. There is something here that I didn't like the art style, and that's why I wouldn't go any further with it, but people clearly love this game, so I clearly should check it out. Even if it is something, like, as a video game critic, it's my job to play games that I might, even on the face of it, know I'm not interested in, and try to expand my horizons as much as I possibly can. And this certainly looks like a game that I'm gonna have to do. Lisa, the complete game, is $16.99. That includes Lisa, Lisa the Joyful, and Lisa the original soundtrack and art collection. If you were to just buy Lisa for $9.99 and the DLC, you'd be paying about $15 in US dollars. It has a Metacritic of 78. Very few negative reviews. 6,447 positive reviews, 294 negative reviews.
Reporting for duty.
This is also a niche game. I've never heard of a big AAA, a big video game critic pushing Lisa. So it's not like it's a indie darling or it's only loved by critics and not loved by actual players. It's the exact opposite, I imagine. It's a game that's loved by players. So I'm gonna definitely put that on my wish list because clearly it's something I need to check out. Even if I end up playing the game and just not being into it myself. Let's see. Sasuke says, but if I switch server in PC, I lose my complete. Yeah, if you switch on anything to a different server, you lose all your progress and have to start over from the beginning. You don't lose it. You can always switch back to the server you're playing on right now. I switch between servers all the time. You just, for the European server, if you've never played on the European server, you start from the beginning. For the Asian server, if you've never played on the Asian server, you start from the beginning. If you go from the Americas server to the Asian server, you start from the beginning, but then you can go back to the Americas server and all your cards are still there. So it's just not worth the effort, frankly. And then Sasuke says, did you play The Walking Dead Season 1? Yes, I have played The Walking Dead Season 1. There's a playlist on my YouTube channel. If you click on my name and click on the playlist tab and search Walking Dead, Season 1 has completely been played. I believe all of Season 2 has been completely played. The side quest of The Walking Dead Michonne has been completely played. The only thing I haven't done, I believe, is Season 3. I think that's where I last stopped. The DLC for Season 1, I played all of that. Also, I feel like there was another side quest, side DLC for Walking Dead that I also played. So if you just look in the playlist tab, type in The Walking Dead, you can see there's a different playlist for all of that. And so that's where you can watch all of those episodes in order. And plenty of other playlists for plenty of other games also. Interesting. Nightbot says no song currently playing. Why is no song currently playing? Apparently I hit the end of the playlist on Nightbot. On the secret playlist. Next game we have on Steam is called Square Root. It came out today. Doesn't look great. Graphics do not look great. They have an artistic style that I frankly don't think works ever. It's just ugly. I cannot figure out what kind of game this even is. Is it an Arkanoid game? Is this a platformer? It says it's a strategy action indie casual game.
I will be your death.
No, this has to be a incredible machine style game where you have to place items from a list of items that you have onto the screen to let a block walk from one end of the screen to the other end of the screen, and it is actually just a block. So you have to make a route that the square can use, thus the name Square Route or Square Root. And it's poorly animated. And it's 25% off for $1.49, which tells me the price is too high already. Let's see, no reviews. I think probably won't ever get any reviews because nobody's gonna buy it in the first place. It's from a developer who's made several other games that all seem to have a very similar ugly artistic style, in my opinion. And so like, On a Roll 3D is the only game that's rated positive. Let's see what this game is. It's a 3D version of a platformer. It looks decent, I suppose. Actually, it kind of looks kind of good for what it is. It's an attempt at doing something like Sonic, but you're playing as a ball. 94% of 73 users say that this game is good. And it has an all-time peak of 921 players. I don't know how many would exist, how that would get that high. So while I won't buy this developer's current game, I feel like there's this other game that I'm selling. Might be something worth looking at. No, I'm looking at the negative reviews and they're saying it's just a mediocre platformer at best and a Sonic ripoff, and that's kind of what I saw too. So maybe you're better off just playing a Sonic game.
In the best shape of my life.
Next game we have on Steam is called Odyssey, ODYSSEE. Came out today. It says it's an early access indie violent game. I don't particularly know what makes it violent. It seems like it's a bunch of really badly drawn elements for some kind of game. I can't even figure out what you would do with the game. Says it's rated M for mature. Early access, $5.99. I would never pay that much for this game. Let's see. No reviews. Yep, Odyssey looks like it's a garbage game. And I bet it's the first game by this developer on Steam. Yes, it is. There's a very consistent running theme ever since I started looking at every single game that comes out on Steam. And that theme is bad games, for the most part, are always the first game from that developer on Steam.
This guy's tough.
So if there was just even the slightest amount of curation at looking at the quality of games. For new developers who haven't put anything else on Steam, Valve could easily pinpoint all these bad games and say, this is not going to sell, this is just confusing our marketplace, this is wasting everybody's time. Simple thing that they should be doing already. Let's see. Sasuke said, which server are you playing? Right now I'm playing the European server, but if you want to free me, it's the same account. If you want to friend me, the account's the same everywhere, so it's RYDO number 1423. You can add a friend request there on whatever server you're on. I will eventually accept that friend request because I accept all friend requests whenever I log into whichever account. Let's see. Do you want to try and play Sly Cooper? Let's see. This next game that was on Steam was called Achievement Hunter Night. Any game called Achievement Hunter is built around giving you achievements. This one has almost 5,000 achievements for 59 cents. They are horrible fake games, as the Valve calls them. It's from a publisher who has nothing but achievement games, and that's all they put on there. Like tons and tons of achievement games. I don't see any reason why these should be allowed on Steam, because that hurts the value of an achievement, which is almost a valueless thing in the first place, but you don't need to make it worse. So to answer Suzuki's question, Sly Cooper is not on Steam. It's, to my understanding, I think it's a PlayStation exclusive, but I could be wrong about that. I just typed in Sly Cooper into Steam, it's not coming up. So I only play games on PC and on Steam because it's just too much of a hassle to try and get the equipment and switch around to a different system. Plus, if I tried to play any console games, it would be inherently Nintendo console games, and that wouldn't work because Nintendo copyright claims all footage, whether they actually own it or not. So, in theory, yes, maybe. If I had extra time and I wasn't making footage for my YouTube channel, I'd play Sly Cooper, but there's no point in the next couple of years. I think I would have the equipment and have the game to play it. I hear it's a good game. It looks like a good game. It's just not in my wheelhouse. Still struggling here to get victories, so it's time to switch down to casual. Suzuki says, I see. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, May the 4th be with you, the best Star Wars games. Since today is Star Wars games, they're gonna list that. It's not real news, an article like this. This is kind of just, you know, an anniversary fluff piece. Oddly though, the first game they suggest is Star Trek Online. I don't know why you're including that. And then Final Fantasy 12, and then Farscape the game. Oh, I didn't know that there was a Farscape the game. Is that? I'm gonna have to see if I can find Farscape the game. I liked Farscape. Let's see. You apparently would have to buy it because it's not a Steam. It's not on Steam. It's rated 2 stars. I think Rock Paper Shotgun is trolling people by talking about non-Star Wars games. What was the reception? It doesn't even say there is a reception for Farscape the game. Ark Survival Evolved is their next one. Battletech is their next one. They're just trolling here. Kerbal Space Program is the next one. Mass Effect 2. So I don't know what the deal here is. Does Rock Paper Shotguns, the person who wrote this article, Brendan Caldwell, just hate Star Wars games? Or are all the Star Wars games pretty bad? They're not all that bad though. Like, you could have talked about the Force Unleashed one. That's a good Star Wars game. There's Knights of the Old Republic. Certainly people like that. So I don't see a reason why you would do a joke article like that and potentially try to start a flame war in your comments. Game of Sutra has an article about how a ragtag band of modders restored Star Wars Knight of the Old Republic 2. I have every game on Steam that's a Star Wars game. I plan to cover some of it over the years. I imagine we'll see some new Star Wars games get made, particularly when EA is no longer making things like Battlefront 2, and they're no longer in charge. So there's definitely room in the next 2 or 3 years for some really good AAA quality Star Wars games. And it's a good enough and well enough known story that it makes a lot of sense for there to always be a new Star Wars game in development coming out. Single player experience, multiplayer experience, whatever. Because Star Wars is not going anywhere. Although it is arguable that we may start seeing Star Wars based on Episode 7 and Episode 8 that feel very, very different from the old Star Wars series. In the same way that when we had Episode 1 come out and we started to have a lot of pod racing games that were being claimed as Star Wars games, and they just did not feel like the Star Wars games of old. But something, I still think that the Star Wars property in general is loved enough and revered enough that there's room to make more games. Next game we have on Steam is called Depth Siege Atlantis. It kind of looks like a cell phone game. It says it's an action casual game, and it looks like what you're doing is maybe clicking on bombs before they hit the bottom of the screen, like a real arcade style game. Came out today. It's from a developer who's published about half a dozen other games, and none of them are rated good. And that's definitely concerning if you're going to try and sell me on a product when your entire lineup of other products are not good. This almost seems like a fast-paced arcade game. It is. You're just clicking on the bombs as they fall down the screen. They seem like they're falling down in an unrealistic amount of time. Honestly, though, like more than 10 are falling down at one time. So even if all 10 of your fingers were tapping on a touchscreen, which this definitely feels like it is designed to be played on a touchscreen like a phone, it would just be so fast. So I can't really say the concept's bad. It's 40% off for 59 cents, so they kind of know it sucks. but the first review I get is not recommended. Let's see. The negative review says, one thing you can say about this game is easy to tell there's no thought and effort put into the garbage at all. Feels like a cell phone game and not meant for a PC. You should be tapping the screen of a mobile device, not moving a cursor and clicking a mouse. This is terrible gameplay that makes my wrist hurt. Oh yeah, this is also a Steam achievement system abuse game for cheaters who don't know the meaning of the word achievement and they buy them like idiots. How many achievements are in this game? 5,000. Yep, any game with 5,000 achievements, again, should be flagged and looked at by Valve. Devaluing the valueless achievements even more. So yeah, can't recommend Depth Siege Atlantis. Moving on. Gamasutra has a blog. Gamasutra allows developers to write their own personal blogs and post them. So this is probably a blog post from somebody in the industry, so it'll be pretty skewed. But it says, using Steam reviews to estimate sales. And I've been a little guilty of that. Like, if I see no reviews, I say, well, there have been no sales. This shows a chart where if you have 25 reviews, well, you probably have between 25 and 150 sales per review. So if a game has one review, you might have gotten more sales than that. And it doesn't seem like it skews too crazily away from that estimate. Here the commentator says that his ratio came out to about 39 times. So 39 sales per one review. That seems about right. If you look at how many commenters comment on a YouTube video versus how many viewers viewed that video, 39 seems kind of right. Between 25 and 150 also seems about right. Like, I've certainly had some videos that have only had 25 views and had 1 or 2 people comment, and I've certainly had some videos where I've had 500 views and 1 or 2 people comment. Actually, my biggest video would have had probably 80,000 views now, and it really only has like 20 or 30 commenters on it. No real surprise. YouTube's probably not the same as Steam though, but it's somewhat similar. People don't like to leave comments. They don't want to type. It's just that simple. They don't want to get into a fight, particularly on Steam. Like, some of these bad fake game developers on Steam will come back and comment on your comment if you let them, and call you a liar and tell you you're wrong, and they'll try to delete your comments. In fact, even one developer tried to sue people for leaving reviews on a game, which that didn't fly with Steam. Next game we have on Steam is Mechs vs. Kaijus. Sounds like a good idea. It says it's an early access strategy action indie casual game. And to me, it looks like it is a tower defense game for the most part. Like a line defense game, if not a tower defense game. I don't think there's enough variety there to even make a difference. It looks alright. So if you were gonna play a tower defense game where you play as mechs and you fight off giant monsters, that's good. It's the only game from this developer, which that's a slight problem. because I'm not sure I want to trust $7.64 to a new developer. The game is 15% off right now for $7.64. Has an all-time high of 16 people. Assuming Steam database's data is correct, and the all-time peak that I quote is accurate, I think that's a better indicator than the number of credits. It says it's an early access game. Let's see if there's any reviews. 2 positive reviews. It's a wave defense game. If you've never played a wave defense game before, buy the game and play it. Now you know. It's not bad for early access. I can imagine they flesh it out. I'm gonna wishlist this game. It's got polish, and if I must play a wave defense game, this at least looks like it is a interestingly animated and visually appealing wave defense game versus so many ugly ones. Next game we have on Steam is called Doodle God Mighty Trio. This is a match 3 free-to-play puzzle game from Joybits Limited, makers of Doodle God and Doodle Devil, which are highly rated but really expensive to play on Steam, when frankly you'd be better off playing them on the mobile versions. And they are kind of a casual mobile game. I don't know why you'd want to play them on Steam, although I am going to wishlist them, so I have them on my Steam account. I imagine this is free to play with microtransactions, and it's early access. Yeah, there's a booster pack for $3. This is Candy Crush though, that's all this is. So not recommended. One not recommended review, basically it's a mobile game, slowly brings in all the typical mobile games that you'd expect. If you fail a level, spend some gems for a few more moves. How do you get gems? Go get lucky on the roulette or pay up. My experience, the life counter never went down, but I think that's just a bug since it's also doing 5 lives or wait or buy more. So yes, this is a lot of negative reviews here for this game, which is microtransactions. I believe my game here is broken. The rope is not coming, and so I'm going to go ahead and just quit and come back into this. Like, my network connection seems fine, but I think the other guy lost his connection. So yeah, while I might consider wishlisting the original Doodle God game and some of the other ones that they've made, such as Doodle Devil and maybe even Doodle Mafia, I can see that a lot of their other games have gone down in quality, and that is not what I want to do. Yeah, it just totally disconnected me. I didn't lose, I didn't win. It just ended. I forgot that that game existed. That's a weird way for Hearthstone to play it. PC Gamer has an article, save 15% on eBay items, price $50 and up today. If you're interested in that, you might have to look at the article, or maybe not. Maybe you can just search eBay.
The victory is yours.
Well, there's a quick victory. We need one more victory, then we'll move over to America's account. This is why it's so slow. Like, This is why I don't recommend people playing 3 different accounts. This is why I don't play Hearthstone all the time, is it's just really long to play some games. 20, 30 minutes. At best, some games will last 7 minutes long. It's just too much time. I'd much prefer to be playing a mini league and start with only 10 random cards from my deck. And just, I lose real quick. Win one time, lose real quick. I'd rather spend my hour playing 50 games and losing 40 of them than spend an hour playing 5 games and losing 4 of them. Next game we have on Steam is called Warcraft, which looks pretty ugly. It's not the worst graphics I've ever seen, but certainly not good graphics. It looks like it's kind of a ripoff of Fez, maybe some platforming. It's a combination of the word Far Cry and Minecraft. From the developer who's done nothing else. It's selling for 99 cents. All-time peak, early access. All-time peak of 1 player, no reviews. It really is just a game where you'd never give it the time of day because of the name seems sleazy. It seems like you're just trying to cash in on somebody else's name for Far Cry and Minecraft. The game itself doesn't look too bad, but I don't know if I want to give it the time of day. Honestly, I'm gonna wishlist this game just to keep an eye on it, but when I reevaluate it, this is a game that has a very high chance of being removed from a wishlist when it comes out of early access, if it ever comes out of early access, which is certainly a potential outcome. Next game we have is called 2D Game Manias, and that's all squished together as one word because that's the name of the developer, and then the name of the game is Taken, and they say it's an action adventure indie casual game. It looks like, first of all, it looks too red. There's just a huge red tint over everything, like the entire place is on fire. Rocks are red, everything is red. Let's look at some of these other screenshots. Red, red, red. Somebody just put a red tint over everything and forgot about it? It says, the thing here is this game is the first game from this developer, and they're naming it after themselves like it's a PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds game. Which I guess that kind of makes some sense if you're going to use a very simplistic name like Taken. They say it's a 2.5D platform shooter with 4 huge levels and 4 bosses, so it's an incredibly small game for $3.99 with 20% off. It's just ugly and it's small. So you can easily skip 2D Game Mania's Taken. They should have put more effort into their game before they put their name on it. Something. Yeah.
I told ya so.
Let's see. Double check the chat. Next game we have on Steam is called Furiraba Friend to Lover. It's an adventure casual simulation visual novel. I assume it's a romance visual novel with a name like that. It is the only game from this developer, and get the price. 15% off for $25.49. It has full audio Japanese, but no English or subtitle support in Japanese, according to how they filled out the form on Steam. I seriously doubt that is the case. The animation looks Japanese anime style. It is probably from a Japanese company, from the best I can tell. But probably not a known company either, and it doesn't seem like it's a recognizable property that they're making. It's just a bunch of anime girls going to events in school. It seems like there's 4 girls that you can pick from. To approach. Maybe you're playing as a male protagonist, maybe you're playing as a female protagonist, maybe they leave it up to your own imagination. The publisher that's publishing this game is also only publishing this game, so it's a different developer and different publisher, but neither one of them have done anything else. It has an all-time peak of 12 people who have played it. It's really, really expensive though.
I wonder.
Play that. Let's see, there's 3 positive reviews, which is kind of just suspicious. 1's in English, 2 are in Japanese. I could say this was a thumbs up, but I don't know why you would want to play this game in particular unless you'd played a lot of other visual novels already. It looks good for the screenshots it's showing, but it is a straight up just romance visual novel as far as I can tell. There's no other kind of gameplay in it. And so yes, I think I can go ahead and skip this, as I am not going to play a visual novel where I would have to read out all the text throughout the entire gameplay, because that does not sound fun at all.
The end is coming! The end is coming!
Next game we have on Steam is called Darko Reign of Elements. Shoot, I messed up my chat. Gonna have to reload it. There you go. So that's D-A-R-C-O, Reign, R-E-I-G-H, of Elements. It's an early access indie survival adventure action game. Seems like you get to ride dragons and fly around to flying ships. That seems interesting. A lot of this in the trailer looks like some moderately barren lands, and you get in these forested areas and fight monsters, it seems. So this they're like robotic animals. Like, what was that game that came out on PC, PlayStation 1, that was popular last year? Well, there was a game like that where you were fighting robotic dinosaurs on PlayStation only last year that was really popular, and I wish it had come to PC, but I don't think it ever is. And I think this is a attempt to be something sort of like that, but turn it into a multiplayer online MMO. But it's early access, 20% off for $27.99. That's really, really expensive. Let's see. Somebody's giving it a rating, a not recommended rating, 2.5 out of 10. Apparently there's just a ton of bugs in this early access MMO game. Again, I think what a early access really is and what it should be when you let an end user see it are 2 very different things. Like, there should be an internal beta stage to fix a lot of bugs before you even start showing it to other people. This is from a developer who has done nothing else, and they're asking for a full price of money to work on a game that's buggy. It's labeled as early access lower down, but I would clearly call this a alpha, if not beta. It's probably alpha. So I can't recommend that game, and by the time they get it fixed and running well, I imagine it'll be too little too late. Yeah, we don't, I think, need to talk about that because that's not what news. Next game we have is called Sky Conqueror. It's a casual indie action adventure game according to the tags. Seems like it's a simplistic game where you're just falling down and you're going through clouds, but you're trying to brush next to the clouds but not touch the clouds, and the clouds may be floating rocks instead of clouds. They're these white things. I recently saw a game that was just falling down, and it was done in a very poor way. This one at least looks like it has a better quality to it than that one. All-time peak of 2 people, 20% off for $3.19. See, 10 achievements, so it's not an achievement game. There's a recommended review that says it's a suicide simulator with stone clouds. So they are rocks, and that's the only review, and that person got the game for free, so I imagine that is from the developer. It's from a developer called Poseidon's Kiss. It's the first game they had. So they're charging too much money for this, clearly. To start off with, this is at best a 60-cent game. It looks good. It could get you a little bit of attention and let you just go through the process of being a game developer. This would not be a bad game to have on a portfolio and have listed on Steam for 60 cents. But it's certainly not a good game. It's missing anything you'd actually want to play or anything you'd actually want to do. It looks like it controls well in the trailer, but maybe it doesn't. There's barely any kind of menu. There's barely any kind of screen. It's like a one-screen game where you're just forever going downward. So I don't see any reason why I would wishlist Sky Conqueror since it's so basic.
The time has come. I return.
I'm looking at a TechRaptor article called The Coverage Club, All Work and All Play. It's a regular series where they shift our critical eye towards smaller games that deserve some attention. Each week our editors select 2 titles and provide honest first impressions. So they're talking about a game called Staxel that looks like it's just a voxel-based ripoff of Unturned, which asset flips, that's basically all it looks like. And then the other game is called Swim Out that they covered, and it's a puzzle-based swimming game to get through very awkwardly shaped swimming pools while not being hit by other swimmers in different caps.
Well played.
So Swim Out kind of looks like it would be an interesting game, although I had a pretty negative response to Hitman Go, and it is effectively a Hitman Go ripoff. I'll wishlist this game, but I very possibly will never buy it. Swim Out. Staxel, on the other hand, looks like garbage, and I would never play it. How long have I been going? Did I forget to reset my clock? Because I think it's been more than 45 minutes. Yes, I did. It's been 2 hours. Okay. So I don't know if we're going to go to a post show or what, but we still need one more victory. And we're banging our head against the wall. Let's take a break and switch over to the Americas account and break up this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because all of that helps out. When you subscribe, click the notification bell, please. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites like Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of that information is down below in the description. That's very helpful too, and almost mandatory these days to make sure you get notifications somewhere. And if you want to support me even further and gift me a game on Steam that you'd like me to play, please do that. That's really my only way of making any kind of profit from doing all of this work. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.